people, we are masters, we will come no more unto thee. Can a maid forget her ornaments, or a bride her attire? Yet my people have forgotten me, days without number. Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore have thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways. Also in thy skirts is found the blood of the souls of the poor innocents. I have not found it by secret search, but upon all these. Yet thou sayest, because I am innocent, surely his anger shall turn from me. Behold, I will plead with thee, because thou sayest, I have not sinned. Why gettest thou about so much to change thy way? Thou also shalt be ashamed of Egypt, as thou wast ashamed of Assyria. Yea, thou shalt go forth from him, and thy hands upon thy head. For Yahweh hath rejected thy confidences, and thou shalt not prosper in them. Praise Yahweh. Now, as you can see already, this is talking about a marriage between you and Yahweh. So before we even get into that, we're going to take a step back and talk about what makes a good marriage. Now, the foundation of what makes a good marriage consists of three basic ingredients. You have love, communication, and compatibility. While some would include financial stability, money, or the lack of, is secondary to a couple's ability to share genuine affection, exchange opinions, ideas, aspirations, and live together harmoniously. A marriage begins first and foremost with love. But true love is not just based on physical attraction alone. And all of us should know that, because as you get older, things change. So if that's what you're married for, you won't last anyway. It is an emotion that transcends to desire for intimate gratification. The virtue of love empowers and enables husband and wife to forgo selfishness and become selfless, giving sacrificially and without reservation for the benefit and well-being of their mate. Love is what makes a good marriage last for better or for worse. Sickness and health, and poverty and wealth, until death do you part. Now, in 1 Corinthians 13, 4 and 8, it let us know, it talks about love. It says, charity suffereth long, it is kind, charity envieth not, charity vaunteth not itself, it is not puffed up, doeth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things, because we know charity never fails. Now, as couples mature in a relationship, love, communication, all these things should become secondhand, because through the first few years you're learning one another. So you should, the lines of communication is easy to talk to one another. So when a husband and wives feel free to voice opinions without being criticized, and share ideas and aspirations with a partner who is like-minded. Now you see the key word, you have to be like-minded in order to do this. The more couples talk one to another, the less likely the union will end up in divorce. Why? Because partners who share innermost thoughts and feel and express themselves freely become best friends. And those who are married, those who want to be married, you know it's true. You start off as friends. You have a friendship, and your friend know what button not to push, what not to say, or what not to do. They know all your signals, just like a married couple. They know when you're upset. They know what makes you mad. So why would you do anything if you say you love this person to upset them? So best friends are married, don't need outside influences. They don't need family, friends, co-workers, etc. Whoever it is. Why? Because you know your spouse. You don't need nobody to tell you anything or any more less. And listen here and understand the heart. And a mate who knows what to say and when to say it, all contributes toward a happy home. From friction, disagreements, we'll get to that because we know disagreements arise, but this is what I'm talking, the basis of when you have the foundation. Disagreements and stuff will arise, but you immediately, you'll make peace in the house. You say, I'm sorry, because you know what you said, maybe you meant it, but maybe how you said it was wrong. So we'll get to that, but the disagreements and frustrations. Now we know arguments and disagreements will come, but with communication, you won't have a total blowout or a severe tie in your relationship. The longer husband and wives live together in harmony, the easier it becomes to communicate and understand one another. Sometimes without even saying a word. I have certain looks that my husband knows. He already know what that means. Nothing about, oh, you in the doghouse or anything like that. So I don't want you to get the wrong idea. But he knows, oh, she didn't like that. Stuff like that. These are the basics, because when you have that foundation there, you already know the trigger points. You know the things that makes him or her upset. So as they understand one another without saying a word, sometimes couple can even finish in sentences. I don't know if anyone experienced that, but you can finish the sentence of your mate before they even finish it, or you even know what they're thinking about. Finally, what makes a good marriage? A lifelong love story is compatibility.
All right.
We also know that motivation for couples to decide to wed is also based on physical attraction and common interest. Because if you're not interested, you don't want to spend the time with the person, you don't want to get to know the person, and you have no interest of even prolonging it, because why? That's not your preference. After years of living together, differences in personality and temper begins to disappear as they become one in mind, thought, processes, and purpose. For instance, a husband who may not like the pie filling, but you have a wife that likes the crust. They can share a piece of pie. Why? Because the wife will eat the filling and the husband will eat the crust. Why? Because the couple developed a method of capitalizing on each other's strengths and weaknesses. Now unresolved issues in a marriage can spread undetected like a cancer until desperate measures must be employed to remove out the cancerous cells or the out-of-control cells. Now, when a husband and wife harbor resentment, bitterness, anger over past hurts, ill feelings can damage nearly every area of your marriage. Before the spouse can restore any level of peace and harmony in the home, they must first determine if the marriage can even be saved. If you feel as though that the person is even worth your time to even say, let's go to counseling, or more importantly, a spiritual advisor. And oftentimes communication has been broken to the point that a spiritual advisor has to mediate between the spouses. But just like a cancerous tumor, unresolved issues in a marriage can fester just beneath the surface. And that brings me to the topic for you today: leaking. No ability to retain the blessings of Yahweh. Now, what is a leak? It's a crack or a hole that lets something in or allows something to escape, information that becomes known despite efforts to conceal it. Now we're going to go back to Jeremiah chapter 2. Now, as we said, you can see the analogy or the image that Yah is married to us. He's married to the people of Israel. And the first word that comes to mind is adultery. Now, Jeremiah, verses 2 to 3. Go and cry in the ears of Jerusalem, saying, Thus saith Yahweh, I remember thee, the kindness of thy youth, the love of thy espousals, when thou wentest after me in the wilderness, in a land that was not sown. Israel was holiness until Yahweh, and the first fruits of his increase. All that devour him shall offend. Evil shall come upon them, saith Yahweh. Now, Yahweh, you can see, is plainly saying he remembered the devotions of our youth. Back to that bride. How when you're firstly married, you're all in love. It's like, yes. And over time comes, and it becomes to what? What do you want? And as time goes on, it just, what I'm saying, sometimes it could diminish if you don't keep the fire going, if you don't keep the lines of communication going. So, Yahweh is, you can see behind this idea of the relationship between the marriage between Yahweh and Israel, there is no other image which could better communicate to use the tender love that Yah has for his people. So Israel was holy to Yahweh. It was set apart, like that wife or the husband that's set apart for their mate. Belongs exclusively to her husband. Yah, as her husband, protected her from all her enemies. In these verses, Yah remembers their first love. And you sense Yah's heart is breaking over his people who have forsaken him, like a faithless wife or that husband who chased after other lovers. In Jeremiah 2:5, it says, Thus saith Yahweh, what iniquity have your fathers found in me, that they are gone far from me, and have walked after vanity and are become vain. In these verses, Yahweh is saying, what have I done wrong? And you realize that it is a perversion.